Tonight, a man accused of driving high at more than 54 times the legal limit for marijuana hadn't had his license suspended, according to the state. The man was arrested for hit and run on I-5 on May 20th. The blood test results just came back. Troopers say it shows he had THC levels of 270 nanograms. The legal limit is 5. We got in touch with the Department of Licensing. They say now that blood test results are back, they'll wait to be contacted by the State Patrol. They have 60 days to look into suspending the man's license. Experts say it's hard to say how much marijuana it would take to get that result, because if you use it regularly, you'll have higher levels building up in your blood. In this case, no one was seriously hurt, but Morgan, that is far from the case in many other cases.
Yeah, Mary, I dug into the numbers. The state doesn't have records of serious injury crashes involving drivers high on pot, but they do keep records of deadly crashes. And in 2008, that number set at 73. 6 years later, it went to 91, and King County accounted for about 20% of those crashes. But the numbers across the board are still significantly lower than drunk driving crash rates.
State troopers had to check and then double check a recent blood test on a driver they pulled over for DUI.
It showed that this guy had 54 times the legal limit of THC in his system. That, of course, is the active ingredient in pot. Police arrested the 53-year-old man in Linwood after they say he was involved in a hit and run on I-5. The legal limit for THC is 5 nanograms. Blood test for this man had it at 270 nanograms. The State Patrol says marijuana continues to be a big factor in impaired driving. In 2014, 349 drivers tested positive, some in combination with alcohol or other drugs. In 2015, drivers on pot were involved in 91 of the state's 499 deadly crashes. That's nearly 20%.
Thank you, Amy. A Linwood man arrested for DUI had more than 54 times the legal limit of marijuana in his system. 54 times. According to blood test results, that 53-year-old driver had THC levels of 270 nanograms. The legal limit for adults is 5 nanograms. The driver was arrested 2 months ago for DUI. He's also suspected of a hit-and-run crash earlier that evening. So what does it look like when someone is more than 50 times over the legal limit? Troopers won't know how much marijuana is in a person's system until after blood is drawn, and that can take weeks to test. So field sobriety tests are used to determine whether or not troopers can get a warrant to draw blood.
We see that a lot with drivers that are heavily impaired with alcohol. And they may walk and talk just like you and I. But when you make them do those divided attention tests, that's where you can see the level of impairment.
Bottom line, though, it is illegal to drive impaired no matter what the test shows. Trooper Jeff Savanay says he has arrested people for impairment who were actually found to be under the legal limit.